I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the cowboy man. And he had, apparently, it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey. I'm your host, Wayne, joined as always by my lovely partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am?
I do not sound like a boy today.
Well,
shut up.
Really?
God, you're such
no,
a big
you do
brother.
not. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm super excited because this is the first time in like 3 weeks that we're doing an episode where we're healthy. Neither of us sound like shit.
I know. I made my tea and my lemon, and I think I put too much lemon in it because it's kind of tart and it makes me shiver. So I might just black my screen out when I take a drink because I don't want you to see me like shiver.
She's not having a seizure. She just took a drink.
I put too much lemon in it. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to be healthy and here.
I am too. And I can't tell you how excited I am about this guest backstage. He was interviewed by Mr. Brian, our brother from another mother over at Sasquatch Odyssey. And reached out, wanted to come on over here. And I am so excited to have him. Guys, this gentleman actually interviewed Ed and Lorraine Warren.
That's like the coolest thing ever.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was a face-to-face interview or what. We'll get into all that. He is expecting us to talk about that. He is expecting your questions. He's wrote book. He's an author. He has written books on Bigfoot and paranormal stuff, hoodoo, just all kind of cool stuff. He's a really, really cool guy. I got to talk to him a few minutes before we came on, and I cannot wait to get him out. This is going to be a fun show.
100%.
All right. Well, let's just pay some bills. You want to?
Let's do it, man.
Unless you got anything else you want to talk about. Anything exciting happening?
No. For one
Actually, I lied. We're going to wait a second before we pay the bills because I do have something exciting to talk about.
Well, let's hear it.
I got a goodie bag today, and I don't know if she's in there. Miss Marianne, are you in the chat tonight? Marianne is a lady that puts on the Ozark Bigfoot Conference. Brian and I were invited to come out there this year and speak and camp, and she is personally responsible for, Show Me Bigfoot. That's her. Marianne, I thought it was.
Yep.
She is personally responsible for one of the coolest weekends I've ever had. Or not even weekends. It was like a midweek thing. Coolest 3 or 4 days I have ever had. We had so much fun hanging out with her. And we just become really, really fast friends and stayed in touch. And I'll be out there again this year. Brian will be out there again the upcoming year, and we're just going to keep doing this thing. But she sent me the coolest little Christmas present today. She's such a thoughtful lady. She sent me all kind of goodies that she made herself, chocolate covered pretzels, like the white chocolate, homemade cookies, this kind of peanut brittle. I don't know what she called it, but that stuff melts in your mouth. It is amazing. But when we went out there to do the conference earlier this year, she invited me to stay at her house for the first night, and she was very welcoming. And I stayed in her guest room, and she supplied me with some peach. She called it peach moonshine, and I fell in love with it. That is what I'm sipping on tonight. When y'all see me take a sip, it will happen often, I promise. Because if she could come up with a way to sell this stuff, she would be a millionaire. It's amazing. It is so good, y'all. Marianne is awesome. I love her. I got off the phone with her about 30, 40 minutes ago. I called her and talked for a few minutes, thanked her for everything, and she is just the sweetest lady. I love her so much. And yeah, she does the BFRO expeditions in Missouri, so a lot of people are familiar with her. She also has done the Ozark Mountain Conference the last few years. So if you guys have a chance to hang out with her, get to know her, spend some time with her, anything she does, you will not be disappointed. She is an awesome lady. So thank you so much, Marianne. All right. All of that out of the way. Now we can pay some bills.
Yeah, and you might hear my dog join in the conversation.
What is Hunter talking about?
I don't know. He's just laying in the hallway, right outside Carrie's window, her window. Oh God, her door. You think I was drinking?
Have you been drinking?
No. He's just laying outside her door whining.
All right, tell him to chill. We got a show to do. All right, guys, if you are new to the program tonight, we are very happy to have you. Please do us a favor, hit that subscribe button before you head out. Help Miss Tiffany and I continue to grow this show.
And if you would like to be on with Wayne and myself, you can reach out to both of us, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com, and we can get you slated into December.
Guys, I want to ask everybody to head over to paranormalworldproductions.com, check out our website, sign up for the Bigfoot newsletter, check out all the other shows, pick you up some merch. There's always something cool going on over there. Leave voicemails, all kind of stuff you can do over there, but you can't do any of it unless you head over to paranormalworldproductions.com.
And if you have any questions for tonight's guest, which I know you will, we are expecting them. He is expecting them. Just put them in all capital letters, please. We do a rapid fire question and answer at the end of the show, but it would really help me if you put all of your questions in capital letters.
Very, very good. As always, guys, our memberships are open. Had someone sign up the last episode. Let me jump the gun here and say best $1.99 ever.
Yeah, we had 2 people sign up last show.
Yes, we did. Alex, I agree with you, buddy. Alex has been a long-time member. Goonie Goo Goo agrees. Thank you very much, buddy. But yeah, $1.99 gets you access to all kinds of cool stuff, extra content. You get early released content. We do members only lives. We have a members only Discord. Just all kinds of really, really cool stuff. And it's less than $2. You can't get a can of Coke for $2. So help us out. Everything in this world costs money. We have to pay to do all this, guys. And you guys have been awesome about helping us out. If you would like to be a member and get some of that extra content, just hit that join button beside the subscribe. And we would greatly, greatly appreciate it.
And let me throw this in really quick, because Saturday was Ristle's birthday. And
right.
I know. I didn't know until after the show because, I was like, I sounded so awful. And so he was joking in Discord and he was like, I should have had Tiffany sing me happy birthday with that lovely voice. So what I did is I sang happy birthday on Snapchat, saved the video, and then I sent it to him. It was god awful.
Well, are you going to play it?
No.
What the hell, Tiffany? You had me excited.
Well, I'll send it to you, honey, but I ain't playing it. But I think it would be cool if our members would do something in it, something that we could give back to them. If they wanted to send us their birthdays, we could send them, cool little, quick videos. We could like dance all stupid or sing them happy birthday. Just something to say, hey, I think you're special and we appreciate you. So that would be cool. If y'all want to do that and just throw it in the Discord, that would be great.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Ristal. Ristal has been here from the beginning. He's just a cool dude. We appreciate everything you do, Ristal. I hope you had a great birthday, buddy. One of these days, I hope you and I can get together and sit around a campfire and shoot the you-know-what. But happy birthday, buddy. All right, one more thing before we get to Max backstage. You see at the bottom, the Cash App and the Venmo is open. You guys have been kicking you-know-what with helping us out with the super stickers. We've been asking you guys if you can, we'd rather have the Venmo or the Cash App other than the super stickers, just because YouTube likes to take their 30 to 40%, and that kicks our ass. I love YouTube. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for YouTube. We're appreciative of them. Y'all make enough money. We don't. So if you guys want to help out, it is always very, very much appreciated. You guys always come through for us. But down there at the bottom, the Cash App and the Venmo, if you want to help us out, that is an option. All right, let's get to our guest. Tiffany, you looked up a little bit of information about him, about Max. What did you find?
I'm just gonna read his bio because it's like perfect the way it is. Maxim W. Furyk, his rich background includes aspects of psychology, addictions, music journalism, and the paranormal. He has a master's degree in communications from Bloomsburg University and a bachelor's degree in psychology from, I think it's Aquinas College. He has interviewed celebrity demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren. He was featured on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, Exploring the Bizarre with the legendary Timothy Green Beckley and Tim R. Swartz, and Art Bell's Midnight in the Desert with Heather Wade. He has written numerous rock biographies and paranormal themes books such as Flying Saucers, Esoteric, The Altered States of Ufology, and Coal Region Hoodoo, Paranormal Tales from Inside the Pit. Shepton, The Myth, Miracle, and Music was featured on Australia's Mysterious Universe. His new book, which we're going to talk about this as well, The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, has been published by Hanger One and uses the innovative immersive book technology. He is a respected contributor to Fate magazine, Dark Matter News, and Paranormal Underground, showcasing his expertise and knowledge in the field. His book, The Death Proclamation of Generation X, a self-fulfilling prophecy of goth, grunge, and heroin, has been used at Penn State University as recommended reading for introduction to abnormal psychology and health psychology. His Flying Saucer, Esoteric, The Altered States of Ufology explores the chronology of flying saucers, tracing historical accounts of theologians and astronomers who lived in the days before Christ to the 2023 congressional hearings and the Mexican alien corpses. So
he's a busy fella.
Yes, he's been busy, and I'm so glad that he wanted to come on in here.
Yeah, I am too. We are going to go ahead and get him out because we have spent too much time without him. We're going to be talking about Bigfoot, ghosts, creepy stuff, just all kinds of stuff tonight. So, guys, help us welcome Mr. Maxim Furyk. What's up, buddy?
Hey, thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Tiffany. And, before we get into it, I want to get on that money talk, too. Money money talks. But you were talking about, you're asking your contributors to go and support you because it's a very expensive proposition. The same thing with us independent authors. We have to buy our books from our publishers. So we're always trying to pay the VIG. We're trying to get into the black. Listen, if any of your listeners are considering buying a book or two from me, please consider getting it from me, not from Amazon. They are billionaires, and Amazon does not need your money, but I do.
Absolutely.
I hope that point, we've made that point. But again, just consider this. Buy locally, support independent bookstores and authors and podcasters. Make the world, a better place that way. Corporate America does not need any more of our money. So that's
so very well said, Max. What we do, I don't know if you and I talked about this or not, but after every one of these live shows, we take the audio and we upload that to podcast where we have a much larger audience. So send me your website any way that you want for people to buy your stuff, and I will be happy to put that in the show notes. And that's a great point. Very well said. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you with the lead-in because it's the truth. I mean, let's face it, we're all struggling. I mean, nobody's really at this point hitting it out of the park, but it's the journey. We don't know what the destination is going to be, but maybe all three of us are going to be on Oprah. So who knows?
I don't know.
But if you're like me, you do it because of the love and the passion and the interest and all that, and that's what I do. So
exactly.
I want to first of all just thank you so much for having me on your show. I love Chattanooga. We did a road trip to the state of Tennessee, and then I ended up at the Bessie Smith Strut.
Hell yeah.
Chattanooga, and got so smashed that I had to spend another day there.
It happens down there, buddy.
I was stuck in Chattanooga, so but it was great. I have a nice little town, and
that's a good town to be stuck in. It really is.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I am a former psychologist and a former rock journalist. And, typically I get the question, how did you get into the paranormal? So yes. I'm going to anticipate, that you're going to ask me that. So I'll tell you, I was working on a book, putting together a song, Timothy. Timothy was a song from 1971 about cannibalism in a coal mine. And up in northeastern Pennsylvania, where I'm from, we are hardcore coal miners. And so there was a song called Timothy, 1971. It was about cannibalism in a coal mine. Timothy paralleled what happened in Shepton in 1963. And in Shepton, true story, 3 guys were entombed for 2 weeks. Only 2 came out. As soon as they were rescued, this miraculous rescue, human survival is a wonderful story. Associated Press story, one of the top stories of the year. As soon as they were rescued, though, after the celebration, the townspeople said, well, what happened to your buddy? And there were allegations, unfounded allegations of cannibalism. So that celebration of victory went to these accusations of cannibalism. Back in 63 till now, there's still people that still believe that the missing miner, Louis Bova, was cannibalized. So when the Chicago Daily News interviewed Davy Fellon, one of the miners, and they talked about that, Davy Fellon said, only evil people would pose such a question. He goes, I didn't do that. But he said, only evil men would ask a question like that. So, but it stays with them. It haunts them. But anyway, that book, the Shepton book, came out in 2016, 9 years ago. That was the book that opened up the doors to the paranormal. Now, again, I'm a rock journalist. I write about rock and roll. And I take a look at rock through a sociological lens. All of a sudden, I'm into the paranormal. And not only that, but I'm getting published. I'm getting invited to expos and podcasts. And as you mentioned, Mysterious Universe from Australia does a 90-minute interview, a story on the Shepton mythology. And then the fourth thing, it wasn't a trifecta, it was a quadrifecta. The fourth thing was the Skeptical Inquirer did a really extensive piece about the Shepton mythology, and then of course they bashed me at the end and said that it couldn't be true. It had to be something else. But still, we got a lot of publicity, a lot of recognition back in 2016, and that opened up the doors to the paranormal. And I thought, you know something, something's being channeled through me. Something's working through me. This is the direction I'm going to go. And again, whatever overnight success I have, if I've had any, it's taken me 9 years. So here I am. But it's been a great ride. You know, the paranormal community has been very welcoming, and you know, just a wonderful group of people. I can't be in a better place. So glad to be here on Paranormal Odyssey.
Yeah, well, we are certainly glad to have you. Max, tell me again, when did that happen? The Shepton thing?
Yeah, Shepton happened in 1963. It was August.
And what led people to think cannibalism? I mean, was there like anything founded behind that?
Well, not really, but you had a missing miner. All that happened was you had 3 guys that were entombed for 2 weeks. Only 2 came out. So the logical question was, what happened to the 3rd miner? And, you know, man searches for meaning. So if there's nothing there, we try to go and come up with something. We confabulate, we conjure, you know, that word conjure. We fabricate things, we make things up. We have hypotheses and theories and all that. So with the Shepton mythology, one of the theories was that they ate him, they cannibalized him. Not only that, the missing miner's son believed that there's the possibility that his father had been eaten. And every time they interview this guy, you know, the son, he says that. So the mystique isn't going away. But as I interviewed and researched Shepton, I found out there were other weird things. There were aspects of out-of-body experience, near-death experience, and afterlife experience. The big one was Pope John the 23rd. And Shepton took place in August of 63. Pope John the 23rd died in June. And in all 3 of the alleged miracles that Pope John the 23rd performed, they all happened after he died. And so the theory is, when I talked to some Catholic theologians, said that he went to heaven where he got his authority, and he came down and he worked his miracles. And if you know anything about miracles, if you believe in miracles, it's not the individual that does that, but it's God working through that individual, because that individual is deemed as being holy or pious, you know, something that Catholics talk about extensively. Pope John the 23rd was canonized in 2014. And when he was canonized at the Vatican, the chaplain for EWTN, that's Eternal Word Television Network, that's the large Catholic media group in Alabama, Father Joseph Mary claimed that Shepton was one of the Pope's miracles. So there's a lot of weirdness, a lot of strange paranormal / miraculous stuff that happened in Shepton. Humanoid creatures. I mean, who knows what they are, but the miners saw things. They're in pure darkness. So, you know, that was Shepton. But again, that was 2016, and that opened up the doors to the paranormal for me. And, you know, and since then it's just been like giddy up. You know, I've just been writing books and getting on a zillion. I mean, I do 3-4 podcasts a week, and just an amazing journey. And that's what it is. I mean, it's a journey, not a destination. And we're sort of traveling on the same way. And we just go and tell one another, you know, you're doing a good job. You're going in the right direction, you know, almost like a spirit guide. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Max, how did it come to be that you interviewed Ed and Lorraine? How did that happen? And what did you talk about? Was it a face-to-face interview? What happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Face to face, you know, mano a mano. Yeah, there was a haunted house in northeastern Pennsylvania called the Schmurl haunting, And it was just like any other, Amityville horror. The Schmerl family, they were a Catholic family, and they heard sounds, they heard grunting sounds, they smelled these horrible smells. Profanities were etched into the mirrors. The collie was levitated and flung across the room. Jack Schmerl claimed that he was raped by a female demon, a succubus, and on and on and on. So what happened was the Catholic Church started to send priests over there just to spend the night there, see if there's anything there. And then every Catholic diocese has a priest who's skilled in the rite of exorcism. So they would send some of these priests over there to do an exorcism, but nobody was able to get the job done. They brought in Ed and Lorraine Warren, and Ed and Lorraine Warren tried it. So what happened was there was a guy named Jack Curran. He was working for a newspaper, the Sunday Independent, and I was working for the same newspaper, so I knew Jack. But he was writing a book called The Haunted, and he got Ed and Lorraine Warren to help write that book. So in 1988, in a place called Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, Ed and Lorraine showed up to do some presentations. So I wrote a letter to the owner of the theater. I said, I'd like to be there. So I was given permission. So I hung out with Ed, hung out with them, shook their hands, gave Lorraine a hug, took pictures that are in my book, Co-Region Hoodoo. But throughout the years, I would call them up and I would ask Ed questions. Now Ed and Lorraine were Catholic demonologists. I would call them up, and Lorraine had a pet rooster, so you could hear the pet rooster in the background. And I would ask Ed how he did battle with the demons. And, you've heard this story before. It's nothing unique, but he would go and invoke the spirit of Jesus Christ, of Padre Pio, or St. Michael the Archangel to do battle with these demons, these demonic forces. He would use the crucifix and holy water and all that. But I would call him up every so often. I kept in touch with them over the years before they died, and they were very nice and friendly and respectful, and they sort of held my hand and walked me through this thing. But when I was in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, it was a hot summer night, and we're out there on the sidewalk just talking and hanging out, and I'm taking pictures. And the pictures, I believe it's Ed and Lorraine's grandson, I believe, Tony Spira. I believe that's his name. And Tony is the one that he doesn't have good word of mouth, but Tony evidently has claim to Annabelle, the demon doll. And when you go there to the museum, you have to pay Tony an extra bunch of money to see the thing. But anyway, on Tony's website, he's using my photographs that I took that were in the Co-Region Hoodoo, which is fine. I mean, he never asked permission, but that's okay. I mean, I love Ed and Lorraine, so they could do that. But also, Ghost Adventures, there was a TV series, a documentary from New York City, and they contacted me to use some of my photos of Ed and Lorraine. So that was kind of a nice acknowledgement, to do that. So they were, Ed and Lorraine weren't able to go and cleanse the house, the Schmerl haunting, so they brought in the Catholic Church. The bishop brought in another guy, and it was Father Alphonse Treebolt. He was from St. Bonaventure University in New York, and he came down to the Schmerl haunting. It took him 4 attempts to cleanse the house, to get rid of the demons. But interesting individual. But he said there was one case in New York State. There was a house, and he just wasn't able to cleanse it. And he told the people there, he said, get your belongings and leave, and don't say anything. Don't say where you're going. Just leave and get out of this place, because this place is evil. It's a doorway to hell, and there's no way to clean it. So they just left, and they left that one thing go. So there's, the other thing, the follow-up question is, do you believe in evil? Do you believe in the devil? And absolutely, I believe that there's dark forces there. And go ahead and believe that the devil's just a cartoon, just some nonsense, just some old-fashioned biblical thing from the past, because let's face it, in 2024, a lot of us believe we've gotten a little bit more sophisticated. And so we sort of look down on some of the superstitious thought from the past, but we think that we're more scientific. But the things that worked back then, those fears, those beliefs are working today. So the devil exists, demons exist, spirits get trapped in different realms, either lost or mischievous or evil, and they're looking to get souls. I really get a little bit apprehensive about these young people that are going into the former prisons and former mental institutions looking for the spooks, and there's spooks there. They're hanging out and they're just looking for some young, stupid kid that, that's wide open, the guard down and defenses down. And I mean, it's, we've yet to hear some of these horror stories, but I mean, everybody's doing it. They're going into these places with their little demon box, with the vibration set and everything. So I tell people, and I don't know if this is, if Wayne, if you and Tiffany believe in this, but I warn people against things like tarot cards, Ouija boards, seances, all of that. Stay away. It's a gateway to it could be a gateway to hell. I mean,
exactly.
So.
Oh, I 100% believe that, especially with Ouija boards.
Yeah.
I don't think anything good comes from those things.
Yeah.
Well, even the SB7s, anything that you're going to open yourself up to try to communicate with something,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be done with absolute precision and precaution, both before you start it and after you end it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, you're just a walking Ouija board.
I'm always been so terrified that I'm going to be one of those dumb, I'm not young, but one of those dumb people that take something home with me, Max. I'm terrified that that's going to happen. I'm going to give it to my kids. I'm not going to know how to get rid of it. I just don't want anything to do with it.
Well, the spirits can attach to you. If you're vulnerable, they can attach to you and get to you and work through. And bad things happen. I mean, so I listen to these interviews with these priests, these exorcists, and boy, some of the stories are horrific. I mean, horrific. So but again, it's your life to live any way you want to. So, but
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit, because everybody out there that's familiar with the shows, y'all know that I am a Bigfoot guy. So, Max, I'm curious how you made the leap to cryptids in this book right here, The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot. Tell us about that book and how it came about.
Yeah. Well, it started with, 2023, and I had a book called Coal Region Hoodoo. And Coal Region Hoodoo was sort of Pennsylvania centric, but it has a chapter there on Ed and Lorraine Warren, and yeah, we were just talking about them. Coal Region Hoodoo, after the success of the Shepton mythology, and here's one of my pictures of Ed and Lorraine. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah.
1988. Awesome. Yeah, there they are. And there's a couple of shots in there, but yeah, they were pretty cool. And for your listeners that may not know, the Conjuring franchise, 9 motion pictures worth $2.1 billion, the highest grossing horror franchise out there. That's all about Mr. and Mrs. Ed and Lorraine Warren, demonologists. So it's all about them. So, their legacy continues. So I wrote Coal Region Hoodoo, and Coal Region Hoodoo was Pennsylvania centric. It was about all these things that I sort of had an affinity for, including flying saucers and Bigfoot. I had 2 chapters on Bigfoot, the Bigfoot hypotheses, like what is it? The Bigfoot enigma, the mystery. And I had a lot of comment, a lot of feedback on it. So I thought, you know what? I'm pretty much intrigued about Sasquatch. So I'm going to start doing some research. And what happened was I came out with a book called, this year, 2024, The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, that you just showed. But what's interesting No, not a picture of Ed and Lorraine Warren, but a QR code that's called IBT. That's immersive book technology. So if you were to take your phone, your camera, and hit that, there'll be, and these are throughout the book, there'll be a 3-minute video of me doing a synopsis of the chapter. So this is pretty much, I think, cutting edge technology. I mean, it's probably going to be very commonplace, but right now, Doug Hycheck and Monster Quest, the Hangar One people, they're the ones who are doing it. And I'm just like thrilled that, they chose my book to be using this. But I wanted to write a Bigfoot book, and I wanted to be different than the other books that are out there. There's a lot of books written by the Sasquatchers, and they talk about going out there looking for Sasquatch. And a lot of the things that they see, I believe, are reputable. Eyewitness accounts, footprints that they turn into the plaster cast larger than any human or bear, strides that are larger than, bigger than bears or humans. The smell, always that horrible rotten egg, wet dog smell that seems to be unique to Bigfoot. The structures, the tree structures that looks like somebody created something, possibly as a warning to us. The sounds, that they found. So there's been a number of things that that have been discovered that not a body and not DNA, but nothing to appease the scientific community, but enough to let us know that there's something there. And this is sort of in line with J. Allen Hynek's levels of high strangeness. You have a witness to Bigfoot, and that's one thing. But if you have the footprints and the smell and the sound and the structures, there's a whole lot more. There's something there. There's something that you can't deny. So these Sasquatchers are onto something. Me, though, I'm on the other side of the the fence, and I say, if Bigfoot isn't flesh and blood, then what is it? And so I take a look at some things like the interdimensional theory that is really gaining favor a lot. Now, the interdimensional theory was pretty much Einstein from back in the 30s. And he took a pre-existing theory and he turned it into his wormhole or bridge theory. And he claimed that that these interdimensional works they take a space-time continuum, and if you could fold it in half and just go take a bridge or wormhole and go from one side to the next, that would be a second, rather than going from planet Alpha to Earth and taking trillions and trillions of light years. It makes no sense. I mean, nobody has that amount of sophisticated technology to do that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, that extraterrestrial thing. So there's more and more people, myself included, but following Einstein and John Keogh's and Jacques Vallée's interdimensional theory. It works for Bigfoot as it works for flying saucers. Keep in mind, too, this was the 1930s. This came from Einstein and a bunch of other people. We haven't had anything much, from the scientific community since then. A better hypotheses, like if it's not flesh and blood, what is it? Well, we got Einstein's 1930 theory and we got some stuff from Tesla, but not much else. So the scientific community, I think has been a little bit lax in stepping up and at least giving us something to chew on, something, and with the scientific method, you take a theory and you talk about it and say, okay, this seems like it works or it doesn't. So it's like a hands-on thing. Everybody takes a look at it. Probably the best example was in 2023 after the congressional UFO hearings with David Grush. And Grush said that he knew where the saucers were and he knew where the bodies were. But right after that, Jaime Maussan, the Mexican ufologist or Mexican hoaxer, went in front of the Mexican Congress and he wheeled out these two alien corpses. And They were in glass canisters and everything, and it looked like they were alien. I think they had 3 fingers and bulging eyes. They looked like aliens. But he did not let the scientific community take a look at them and investigate them. Now, what happened was when we went up to the moon in 1969 and came back with the moon rocks, what we did was we broke them up and we divvied them up to the scientific community throughout the world. We let those global scientists take a look at this and say, yes, this piece of moon rock contains, this, and this, all these elements. So everybody was on the same page, the same academic scientific page. That's how the scientific method works. With Jaime Maussan, there was none of that because he kept his alien bodies to himself. Same thing though with David Grush. David Grush claimed that he's interviewed 40 people that worked with the government, 40 people that reverse engineered this alien technology, people that got injured by doing that. Grush claimed that he knew where the bodies are and he knows where the crashed vehicles are. At the time, now I'm a Florida resident. I spend time in Pennsylvania and Florida, but at the time, Senator Marco Rubio was on the UFO committee. And I wrote a letter to Marco and I said, listen, thank you for the good work that you're doing, but let's make David Grush show his cards. He's talking a good talk. He's just like sort of titillating us. Okay, if he knows where the bodies are and the vehicles are, show us where they are. And so Marco sent me a letter back. Now that communication's dying because he's Trump's appointee for Secretary of State. So I think Marco Rubio's out of the UFO business, but it's exciting stuff, with UFOs. And there is a connection between UFOs and Bigfoot. But with UFOs, the government, again, just last month had another meeting where they brought in people to testify and talk about this thing. So it's amazing. I mean, I'm curious about this. I mean, they talk about having transparency and they say they want to give us what we need, but we're just there. So far, it's just talk. We're not getting to the big reveal. So I mean, and what do you guys think? I mean, like, I'm skeptical. I'm from Missouri, and I just think that we're being toyed with.
Well, I think we are on so many different levels, and it's just like, people will hoax with ufology, and they'll claim there's something in the sky if there's not something in the sky. But it's the same. It falls in the same lines with Bigfoot, though, right? The Bigfoot hoaxers.
Absolutely, yeah. In The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, I have 3 chapters on the hoaxers, only because they need to be in there, and we need to call them out and talk about what they did. And there's different levels. I mean, it's not just hoaxers are not the same, all the way around. But we had a bunch of guys that were working in the Bigfoot camp. Ray Wallace and Rick Dyer were the ones that were infamous. But when Jerry Cruz found those Bigfoot tracks in 1958 around Bluff Creek, I mean, they were believed to be genuine. They found the tracks. But then it was Ray Wallace that went around making these fake tracks, and we could see the fake tracks and what we believe are the genuine ones side by side. We could see just how amateurish Ray Wallace's was. But here's the thing: the media believed Ray Wallace. They thought that these tracks were hoaxes, and so again, Bigfooters were just viewed as being fools and simpletons and easily fooled and everything else. So that was the thing. The other one, I talk about the Piltdown Man and the Minnesota Iceman, and I have 2 chapters in my book about that. But in two different cases, but with the Piltdown Man, it became a political thing. Great Britain wanted to have the oldest relic. They wanted to beat out Germany's Heidelberg Man, which was like the oldest relic. And so they put together this fake thing, an ancient human skull, but an orangutan jaw. They used iron oxide to make it look old. And members of the scientific and political community looked the other way because they wanted to raise that flag of nationalism and say, we have the oldest relic. So I think a lot of those people knew that the Piltdown Man was a hoax, but they went along with it out of national pride.
Why do you think that is? And Wayne and I and Brian talked about this today. Why do you think it is, in your opinion, that people lean so far to believing the BS of Bigfoot than they do?
Yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, again, I don't mean to cut you off, Tiffany, but I want to elaborate a little bit. Max, I know you were interviewed by Brian King Sharp, Sasquatch Odyssey. Brian and I co-host a show called That Bigfoot Podcast, where we call out bullshit.
Oh, good.
We call people out for their just stupid shit.
Yeah.
And it drives us crazy, these hoaxers. And how specifically, like Tiffany was just talking about, you got people like specifically Todd Standing, who we were talking about today. He has 130 something thousand subscribers on YouTube. We have like 2,700. We are trying to do it right. Mm-hmm. We are interviewing people like you, people like respected people that get out into the field, because I believe we need to talk to people that have had experiences. But I cannot compete. Tiffany and I cannot compete with people like Todd Standing, people like Ontario Bigfoot. I if I got that wrong, I'm sorry, but the mic guy up there who claims Bigfoot, he's got recordings of Bigfoot farting and Bigfoot singing and Bigfoot taking selfies with him. That's the shit that people want to see. The stuff that we're doing tonight, like you and I and Tiffany, we're trying to raise awareness. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. Why is it that Eric von Daniken with his Chariots of the Gods was such a huge success? That Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods led to ancient aliens. It's all pseudoscience. It's all plagiarizing H.P. Lovecraft and stuff that he wrote back in the 30s. I mean, why is that? Why do human beings, why would we rather follow the folly, follow the fiction than follow the science? I mean, it's just a lot sexier to believe that ancient aliens, that angels came down and procreated with earth women and created another race. They just, people just find that sexier and more exciting. But I'll tell you what, when you go back there and try to challenge this thing, you take a look at the pyramids in Egypt, how were they made? They weren't constructed by Space Brother. We didn't have flying saucers that came down to give us the technology. How they were created, we don't even know. None of us know. It's, they were so advanced technologically, the ancient Egyptians, that we don't even know how they built those pyramids. We have 100 different theories for how they did that. It wasn't the Space Brother, but what they did was, they had technology that was so tight, better than any computer that we used. It was in line with astronomy, and but those people in the Middle East were geniuses when it came to mathematics and astronomy and building these structures. So we don't give ancient humans the credit that they deserve. And I think that the pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids, are certainly one of the best examples of that. But when you talk about ancient aliens, it's what's called pseudoscience. It's exciting to watch. I watch it all the time, and I have friends that are being interviewed on there, like Tim Schwartz. But I believe a lot of that is just pseudoscience. It's based on the work of people like H.P. Lovecraft and H.G. Wells and all the other ones, the literary people. So, but people like that. It's again, there's been so many books that have discounted Eric von Daniken, who was an Austrian innkeeper. And here's a good example of what he said. He knows nothing about ancient cultures. He just puts, and everything that Eric von Daniken did, he plagiarized from other previous writers. But here's one thing: the thunderbolt symbol. You find that with Native Americans, you find that with Nazi Germany, you find that over in Polynesia. So Eric von Daniken says that, well, since you have the same symbol in all these places, that somehow there had to be a race or a people that touched base with all three things. That's not true. A lot of times things happen, whether it's fire, the wheel, language, whatever, spontaneously. The use of bronze and copper, implements and tools, it happens spontaneously with humans throughout the world without them having touched each other and shared information. That part sounds exciting, that that there was people from Atlantis that were escaping Atlantis, and they went all around the world and they shared their wonderful technology with everybody else. What that shows is, one, that we're kind of ignorant, two, that we're gullible, three, that we're anti-science, and four, that we have no respect for ancient human beings who are probably, in some cases, more technologically advanced than we are. So that's my 2 cents. And and some of those hoaxers like Eric von Daniken, he's making so much money with this pseudoscience, this anti-science. That's come on. I mean that And he's invited to all these conferences, and they give him big money because the people love what he's talking about. So
people pay Todd Standing $3,500 to go out for 4 days into this fucking area in Canada to possibly have a Bigfoot encounter.
Yeah,
and he's making a killing. It's just not right. We got several. I'm sorry. Do you have something else, Max?
No, I was just going to say this though. Whenever I have conversations with my friends and we talk about how bad the world is, and I'll say something like, well, you know what? At least I got my values and you have yours. At least, we're good. So it starts here with us, and maybe it goes to other people too. So just because there's hoaxers out there and there's liars and deceivers, that's not us. We don't do that. That's not our game. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not making $1 million, and I probably won't, but I'm having fun as a researcher and as an author, and spreading what I believe it to be the truth, as an academic, and realizing that, I'm pissing off a bunch of people too along the way.
Yeah. All right. We are coming up on an hour so quick. And Tiffany and I talk about this all the time. It's the good shows that fly by. And this has certainly been one of them. So we're coming up on an hour, and I got a few questions that I do want to get to, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Before, though, we want to thank Stormy Bigham for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you so very much for that. First question, Mr. Troy, my good buddy Troy in Tennessee. How do you perform miracles after dead? I mean, unless you're Christ.
Okay.
I was going to say, I think that was touching on something at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, Pope John the 23rd. Yeah. So I was talking to a Catholic nun, and I said, sister, do you know that all three of the miracles that Pope John the 23rd performed happened after he died? 3 of them. She goes, well, of course. And I said, what do you mean, of course? She goes, well, the Pope died. He went to heaven where he got the power, and then he came down and performed those miracles. So again, he didn't perform those miracles by himself, but it was God working through him. So as we say, all things through God. God did it, not him.
Okay. Again, Troy. Max, have you read the Frank Paradis books? This Present Darkness, Piercing the Darkness?
No, I haven't, but I'm writing this down, and that looks exciting. I know. Could Troy give me an overview?
Yeah, I'm sure Troy's a good buddy of mine. If there's anything he can add, I can certainly get contact you with that, Max.
Yeah, give him my email and have him contact me. I'd love to go and follow up on that. Yeah. One thing that is important for all of us is that our scope widens with shows like this, that whatever ideas we have, that they get larger and more well developed and well defined. So this is great to have to hear about this present darkness. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. My great friend, Miss Naoma Finn, Hoodoo Doctors, question mark?
Well,
when you were talking about your book, Hoodoo.
Yeah, in Co-Region Hoodoo, there is a chapter on Dr. Frederick Santee. He was a white witch. He was the high priest for the Coven of the Kata, and the New York City program Oculus Alchemy did a program. They did a program. They came down to northeastern Pennsylvania and interviewed a bunch of us. That's going to be aired the first show of the season. But what they're doing is they're going to be doing an extended documentary on Dr. Frederick Santee, the White Witch. And then they're going to shop it around to the different, Tribeca, Netflix, History Channel, etc. So, we're excited because all of a sudden we have a contact who's opening doors for us. And now, again, I'm a 9-year wonder. I've been in the trenches for 9 years. Now all of a sudden some doors are opening, and this is like great stuff. So again, I didn't go looking for that. I met this TV producer June the 1st of 2024. She said, I want to go and do a documentary. August the 9th, during Hurricane Helene and a tornado watch, they came to this old church and did this shooting. It was pretty amazing, but August the 9th. So they're going to do a documentary just because Dr. Santee is amazing. He was friends with Sybil Leek, the world's most famous witch, and Aleister Crowley, the Beast, and just a whole bunch of people. So just amazing. And I knew Dr. Santee. He was right up the road from me. So that was my connection to him.
Okay. Very cool. Again, from Troy. Do you believe there will ever be a congressional hearing on what the government knows about Bigfoot? Excellent question.
Yeah, Troy, that's a good question. But here's the thing. The reason that we're having all kinds of government response to UFOs is because the public demanded it. They wanted to know what the government was hiding. Where's all the black money going? The black ops money to the Defense Department. All these different groups that we don't know anything about. So I think that could happen, but the public has to go and push for it and make their voices heard. And so far, that's not happening. Write if that's something that's of interest to you, write a letter to your congressman. There's people in Tennessee that were on that UFO committee. So just write them a letter and push this thing about Bigfoot, that, you believe that there's something there that the government knows, and, you want them to share that information. That's how.
And if enough people do that, maybe.
Again, with UFOs, that's exactly what happened. The people that were demanding it. So, it's not that we're getting the answers that I want, but they're giving us something. So,
yeah. Again, from Miss Naoma Finn. Do you discuss Jacko? If so, what do you think about it?
No, I'm not sure what Jacko is.
I've heard of Jacko. What is Jacko? Tiffany, do you know?
Cryptid? I don't know. I can look it up while y'all are chatting.
That's not the Minnesota Iceman, is it?
No, the Minnesota Iceman was a fake. It was a rubberized suit that they tried to tell the cryptozoology community that it was the real thing. And some of these guys got really caught up in that, and they believed it. People like Ivan T. Sanderson and Bernard Helgemans, and they were respected guys, but they fell for it. And they thought this was the missing link. Here it was a missing rubber suit of a monster. Jacko was from Canada. Okay.
Okay. What is Jacko? Do you know? Nobody?
No, I couldn't.
Okay, we'll look into it. Maybe we'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one, Troy. Have you heard about the pyramids in the Americas that also line up with the constellation of Orion's belt?
No, I've heard of the what is that called? Is that the 33 or 66 parallel? There's these lines that when you connect these lines, you see all these anomalies, these weird things that happen in conjunction. That's happening, as well as things like, for example, the Alaska Triangle, the Pacific Northwest epicenter of Bigfoot and UFOs, the Chestnut Ridge area in western Pennsylvania, you know, from Pittsburgh to West Virginia, where they see the most Bigfoots and UFOs together. Bigfoot and UFOs, you know, there's like a paranormal connection there. So throughout the world, there's these epicenters, you know, maybe even the Bermuda Triangle, there's these epicenters where weird things happen that, that with the law of probability, they shouldn't happen. They happen more there. They're outliers. They happen more there than they should. So, for example, like when they look at clusters of cancer, you know, if there's mining and if there's arsenic and, you know, pollution and everything, you could expect that. But sometimes with these anomalies, these clusters, they just happen for no reason. There's no reason for it. And I think these paranormal clusters happen like that. So I think that maybe that's one of the things that Troy was talking about. But again, that's the essence of the paranormal. We don't know. We don't know what it is. It's beyond the scientific. It may be part of the scientific. There may be cause and effect. There may be laws and rules that govern the paranormal, but right now we don't know because we don't have that information, or we misinterpret it or misunderstand it. So,
okay, again, going back to Jacko, Troy, Jacko was an encounter where a young hairy something was captured near railroad tracks. I do remember hearing about that. Naoma Finn, he was a wild boy who was being brought to the U.S. and disappeared. Again,
yeah.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
And Naoma Finn, a lot of people say Jacko was a hoax. Others say it was real.
Well, a lot of people say Bigfoot's a hoax, and a lot of people say it's real. You know, so the interesting thing about Bigfoot is that, you know, when we first heard about Bigfoot around 1958, I mean, the world, you know, then we started to find out, the more we got into it, that, wait a second, Bigfoot has been around for centuries. In British Columbia, they called it Sasquatch. So it's nothing new. And the British Columbian native peoples, the coastal peoples, had totem poles and songs and everything about Bigfoot, or about Sasquatch. They believed that Sasquatch took care of the environment. He protected the environment. And to see Sasquatch was a sacred thing. It was a wonderful thing. So, you know, another thing too with Sasquatch, you rarely, if ever, hear stories about Bigfoot being aggressive. Typically, they're very docile and they run away. Back home, Craig Long, he is now the Pennsylvania District Magistrate. I don't know what you call your judges, your district judges, but he was district magistrate. Craig Long used to be a sheriff. He got a phone call about 11 o'clock at night. This older guy was leaving his dog out to take a leak, and he saw this 12-foot Bigfoot creature, but the man wasn't scared. And he said he wasn't scared because the Bigfoot had kind eyes, and he just looked at him and walked away. And even back home, I live in a tiny little place called Mackinac, Pennsylvania. And my neighbor saw not one, but two Bigfoot. One was larger. It was cinnamon in color. The other one was black. It was smaller. And I said, well, how did they, and I interviewed him countless times. They turned around and looked at him like they were curious, and then walked away like humans. I mean, a stride, like, you know, hominid stride, bipedal stride, you know, not a monkey ape-like stride. So, you know, and this is my neighbor. I mean, this family man, this professional, this church-going guy. I mean, there's, you know, he's, you know, not, I mean, I don't know. He just told me this out of the blue. We were out for dinner, you know, the four of us, and he laid that on me. I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff. So,
Troy's asking, will Max come back and share more with us?
Oh, I'm going to be talking about Jacko. Only Jacko. Is it real or is it a hoax? So, I'd like to. I mean, if there's I would like to talk specifically, maybe on your show, about hoaxers, why people hoax, what motivates them to hoax, and examples that I have.
I would love to have you back to talk
Yeah.
about that. Maybe not even if not here, maybe on that Bigfoot podcast. We can
Yeah.
get you on with me and Brian.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah, but Max, real quick, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, okay, two things. You could either get my books on Amazon or either Beyond the Fray or Hanger One Publishers, or if you really want to go and make me happy for Christmas, check out my website. It's www.maximfuryk.com. Very good. And contact me there, and I could hook you up with autographed copies of the book. And, again, I'm encouraging everybody to support local authors, independent bookstores, regional podcasters. Help us out. We need your help. We can't fight corporate America, and it's a struggle, but we need your help.
Very well said.
And as an indie author, and we have some in the chat as well. I mean, I'm with Hanger One Publishing also. I wrote Dogman, Terror in the Woods, and The Unfamiliars. Yes.
Okay.
So I totally feel where you're coming from, and I think that we as independent authors need the help from the public to understand that we can have our books purchased everywhere books are sold online. Shameless plug. But we don't see all of the revenue from that. It's the major companies that get the corporations get the money. We get the little peons that's left.
It's right. It's again, and we're not complaining because we love doing what we do, but it's right. We get exploited from the top and the bottom. So if any of your listeners are listening to this and hearing this, I mean, it really helps when you buy directly from us. We're all trying to pay the vig, pay off the moms.
Exactly. All right, Max, I'd love to have you back. You and I will stay in contact. Maybe we can get you back, talk more about the hoaxes and other stuff. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out tonight. This was an awesome show. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you much, Wayne and Tiffany. This was great. Thank you for your expertise and your insight, and for keeping this flowing. You guys do a good work. You're professionals. So I feel very comfortable, and and I shared my ring lights for the first time.
Well, we're glad that you came, and thank you for taking the time out of your schedule and everything that you're doing to be on with us. And thank you for your kind words. That really does mean a lot.
It does.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening, buddy.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Amazing.
That was a great show.
Awesome. We knew it would be. I'm on the wrong side, buddy. Thank you. Whew, that's better.
Give me a minute.
I can't do it, man. I just can't do it.
All right. Yeah, good stuff. Great stuff. All right. I've got an angry 3-year-old screaming at me.
Oh, I do not have an angry anybody screaming at me. So good luck with that,
she
sir.
went to eat dinner with her Papa and her Mimi, and they are supposed to have me some tacos. So I'm going to go get me some tacos.
Go get you some tacos on Taco Tuesday, sir.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thank y'all so much for hanging out. All the great questions. Respect to our guest, as always, our new member. Thank you so very, very much. We love y'all. We thank you. And we will see you later. Until we talk again, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.
Bye.